The U.S. is calling Russia's latest round of large-scale military drills with Russian ally Belarus an escalatory action.
Officials say the exercises in Belarus are the largest drills since the Cold War, stoking fears this could be Russia's first step toward an all-out invasion of Ukraine, something Moscow has continually denied. Meanwhile, Russia's foreign minister told his British counterpart today the Kremlin would not accept any Western ultimatums. CBS News foreign correspondent Imtiaz Tyab has more from the Belarus-Ukraine border.
If tensions weren't already sky high, these military exercises are only adding to the pressure of an already intense standoff. For the next 10 days, around 30,000 Russian troops will carry out joint drills right on Ukraine's northern border. The Kremlin has consistently denied it has any plans to invade. Alexei Danilov, Ukraine's top security official, says Ukraine is not panicked, but is ready for anything.
The Russians may use Belarus as a ground for a provocation, he said. It could happen at any moment.
The specter of war has set alarm bells ringing across the world. CBS News has learned of a Pentagon plan to evacuate the thousands of Americans currently living in Ukraine, if needed, to nearby Poland, where U.S. forces are. But not all Americans say they're willing to leave, like Brian Best, who's lived in the capital Kyiv for over 2 decades. It's where he met his wife and is raising his 2 children.
It's really important for you to stay, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
How come?
Because this is my home. It's part of my identity.
Now, there are so many Ukrainians who feel that way, that they plan to stay no matter what, but they also say that they're willing to fight if Russia invades as well. We have to only remember what's going on just over the border from where I'm standing right now, not very far at all, where those Russian military drills with the Belarus army is only gaining in strength, and there's 30,000 troops just on that border alone. Tanya, Nikki.
Imtiaz, we mentioned that Russia's foreign minister met with his British counterpart today and said Moscow would not accept ultimatums. But what else came out of that meeting, and does diplomacy remain on the table?
That meeting was awkward, for lack of a better phrase. Let's just say Sergei Lavrov and Liz Truss clearly not seeing eye to eye at all. In fact, Mr. Lavrov saying speaking to Ms. Truss was like speaking to a deaf person who can't hear. She, of course, dug back, accusing Mr. Lavrov and indeed of Russia of massing troops, threatening to invade the Ukraine, something Russia, of course, has been denying all along. But again, this really tense exchange between these 2 foreign ministers. But the question of whether diplomacy continues, well, it certainly does. We only have to look at the fact that we had the French President Emmanuel Macron, who was in Moscow just the other day, and here in the Ukraine, meeting with the Ukrainian leadership as well. We also know that the German Chancellor will be traveling to Moscow to meet with Vladimir Putin. That, of course, is a sign that this diplomacy is still ongoing, and it needs to be clear. Russia wants to be at the center of these conversations. it has the world paying attention to its demands. Its demands that it wants to essentially recalibrate the post-Cold War order, and it wants to ensure that this country, Ukraine, does not join NATO, and more importantly, that NATO doesn't expand throughout this region. So whatever happens next, well, that's anyone's guess, but the diplomacy is still ongoing. Tanya, Nikki.
Certainly some blunt words between the country's leaders. Back to the military drills in Belarus. Has Moscow said what the purpose of the 10-day exercise is, and how is NATO's eastern flank responding to this?
That's a really good question. You know, what's so interesting about these drills, Nikki, is that they were announced after Russia started massing its troops, after the fact. So Russia is now saying for the next 10 days, it and its very good friend and close ally, Belarus, will be having these military drills. And we're looking at these images, and they're pretty extraordinary. You see Russian hardware, Russian jets, Russian tanks, all of them mobilizing at the same time. A real show of force. And the concern that so many people have is that this is just a prelude to the all-out invasion of Ukraine. That, of course, is a massive concern to NATO. We have to remember that Ukraine is not part of NATO. It has engagements with NATO. It has applied to be part of NATO, but it is not formally part of it. So you mentioned the eastern flank. Well, we have seen a NATO buildup in that eastern flank in several countries. We've also seen the U.S. arrive in several countries as well, beefing up their troops. The concern, of course, many people have is that this could lead to some kind of major conflict that will spill over into NATO countries. But I think the real concern, of course, is here in the Ukraine, that if Russia does choose, if Vladimir Putin does choose to launch this invasion on this country, that it will be a devastating and deadly country. Very quickly, just to point out what U.S. intelligence officials and agencies are saying, they're saying if Russia does indeed launch, Kiev could fall in as early as 2 days. 100,000 civilians and more could die, and up to 5 million people could be displaced to countries like Poland. Tanya, Nikki.
Devastating. Imtiaz Tyab there on the Ukraine border. Thank you so much for your reporting.